Today, I'm taking on the 1977 Austrian Grand Prix here in Automobilista 2, starting in the middle of the field for 16 laps of racing as we are racing the Lotus F1 car from the late 1970s era of this spectacular beauty of Formula One, when the cars, they just look so cool, they look so nasty in the best way possible, and they sounded nasty. Everything about this era of Formula One was so cool. Of course, it was an extremely dangerous era of Formula One. Every motorsport in this era was extremely dangerous now, and we're trying to go through 16 laps of this 1977 version of the Austrian Grand Prix, of course, taking place in real life this weekend. Completely different look of the racetrack now, and I was really intrigued by just the differences between 1977 to modern day Austrian Grand Prix circuit here from Spielberg at the Red Bull Ring, and you can notice, of course, some things that are the same, and as well as some things that are just different. I mean, speaking of the same, right here you got the two double left-handers that are very similar. The first one a little bit different compared to IRL of what we have nowadays. Now, as you can see me under attack here as we run P9, and then that second left-hander, they're actually slipping and sliding around a little bit in this Lotus now, getting hard on the throttle there, but this car is so much fun to drive, and just racing around these other cars from this era is a really cool spectacle now as we come through the final couple of corners. And back in the day here, you can see the final series of corners, just a long sweeping kind of hairpin corner, and then of course you head down this front straightaway towards turn one, which is also completely different. Of course, you go up the elevation nowadays, and then you have a heavy braking zone. You go through turn one. I say heavy, it's not really heavy braking zone, but here it's flat out. You're going through this longer sweeping right-hander that kind of leads you through a kind of a sweeping straightaway until you head to this kind of section of track that we're more familiar with modern day Austria. Crash right there in front of us, and that moves us through into P7. No safety car. We do have a random safety car scheduled to come out during this race. That's something that's really cool with the Automobilista 2, is you can have safety cars come out scheduled at a random point, so you don't know when it's coming. So we are now starting lap 3. We're running P7. We've built up a gap to most of the cars behind. We do have someone behind us, Jay Watts. Of course, none of these names are of the actual F1 drivers from this era, but they're similar. So, of course, like N. Laus, of course, is supposed to probably be Niki Lauda, for example. So, nonetheless, for myself, as well, actually, P90C, M. Confetti, I mean, we all know who that's supposed to be. I was about to say Marco, of course, Mario Andretti, as we continue, just kind of trying to hold off this car behind, but they are reeling us in. Look at this, right to my rear view mirror, as it looks like this is going to be a pretty short-lived fight, but we're running down P6, and you can see the top 5, they're all right there together now, as I just love this style of F1. Of course, you have the full round rim of the steering wheel, and they've of course had to actually use an actual shifter. You know, they had to actually reach their hand down and shift the car, as actually right here is when the safety car is going to come out, the random safety cars. So this is going to stack up the rest of the grid here on lap 4, and we'll get ready to go back racing here in a few moments. But I would have loved to use my sequential shifter to kind of immerse myself a bit more with this car, but unfortunately, I don't know what it was. I couldn't get it working with just this game only. Is the only game I can't seem to make the sequential shifter that you can see on the camera there where I'm at to my right side. I can't get it to work. So we go back racing. Nonetheless, here, lap 6 of 16, short safety car, fortunately now, and we're right on the back again of P6. Can we maybe make a pass as we head right up to the back using that slipstream, pull out to the right side now, and it's going to be wheel to wheel. I mean, look at these cars. It is such a cool era of Formula One. Just the design of these cars now. I mean, they look dangerous. You know, like if you have a big crash in that car, it's not going to be a positive result for anybody. So they just look like they're on the edge of danger at all times, and I think that's something that was so cool about not only, you know, Formula One from this era, but just racing in general, NASCAR, supercars, you name it, IndyCar, all those types of racing. As you can see, the top 4 all right there together. Usually the AI racing is really super good here in Automobilista 2, but lacking a little bit at times. But I say that But look at this, here we go, they're racing hard for the lead. Look at this car in front of me. That's the Niki Lauda car that's supposed to be, from the looks of it. And look, it's got like a big fan on the back of this car now, as we've got 6 cars under a blanket heading 2 by 2 by 2 into the corner. And you can kind of see we get to set it out ourselves, we're clear. But look at the run we're going to get on the back of these 2 guys. Where do we put our car? 1 car off on the grass. I mean, they heard my comment about the AI not necessarily being great here, and they got racy real quick now, as we have got a pack of cars looking like Daytona out here now, as we are right on the back of, we'll call it the fan car. Of course, I'm sure someone can lore dump me on that one a little bit now, as I'm still not the most knowledgeable on, you know, this era of Formula 1 and why in the world that car has a fan on the back of it, even if that is even what it is. So as we are finding ourselves now in P4, a bit of a mistake, kind of caught myself off guard there looking back, and just, yeah, completely misjudged right there. We give up a spot now down to P5 as we'll try to settle back in and get back up into the fight for 4th. But the top 3, they're going to kind of run away as things get settled out. We're now halfway through this race at the conclusion of this lap. And again, that slipstream so strong. Look at that. We pull up to the right. They're fighting up ahead again for the lead of this race. Looks like they got us sorted. I thought we were going to be able to get clear for 4th, but hold on. They're going to fight back now as we continue wheel to wheel. Fantastic racing here in this 1977 Austrian Grand Prix down this long back straightaway. This is such a high-speed, long, sweeping kind of circuit for the most part until you get about here. Of course, basically the last half of Sector 2. And it, of course, kind of goes into that more slower, more technical part of the circuit. And then once you get through the final turn, it just opens up again. And you're just high-speed sweeping. And it's just all about kind of a rhythm, you know, and I love kind of rhythm type racing here. So I mean, I was having an absolute blast doing this as we continue to run in P4. But of course, I mean, I'm still bound to do this. I'm still bound to make mistakes as we get off into the guardrail there, and we're going to lose 2 spots out of it. Fortunately, my first time driving this car ever, I ran on pretty relaxed settings in terms of damage, so that probably would have damaged some suspension, maybe the wing, but fortunately, like I said, I was putting pretty relaxed damage, so just for this episode, and that was pretty forgiving right there, because I knew I was probably bound to make some mistakes in a car I had 0 experience in at this point. So here we come to lap 10 at this point, 7 laps to go, and we continue to find ourselves faster than 5th, faster than 4th. It's all about just kind of limiting the mistakes that we're making at this point now, as we're going to build up a run, pull out to the right side, wheel to wheel. There we go. Can we get ahead? Yes, we can. Another spot gained into P5 once again. That's Joel Watts is the name of the AI right there in front of us, who is absolutely flying up to P4, and it looks like actually might be a bit more pace in his car than myself, at least at this point in time. But just continuing to find a rhythm, find lap time, as I was just getting quicker, you know, as this race was going. But that guy, Joel Watts, was driving away, even putting his right sides in the grass, and the driver in 3rd was starting to fall backwards, as you can see, and Watts is just going to go through and take the spot. He is on an absolute just flyer right now, moving his way forward, but P4 is still definitely on the cards for us here, I think, now, as you continue to watch now 3rd place, newly 3rd place, drive away from 4th, and we are reeling in that 4th position as we have driven away from P6. So P4 definitely a realistic target at this point now. It was just about me making sure I didn't screw up, you know, just trying to keep the wheels on the racetrack. And I mean, look at the beautiful views here as well of this racetrack. This game looks phenomenal as well. Huge shout out to Automobilista 2, an unbelievably underrated simulator in the gaming industry. There is so much to do. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff is DLC. That's maybe the big negative of this game. But as well, I mean, there's so much to do, and so many combinations and tracks and cars and types of racing, and the game looks phenomenal. The AI is fantastic as well. There's just so many positives about this game that do kind of outweigh that negative here as we come to lap 13 of 16, and we have run down the 14th position as we will look for a move into turn 1. They left the door wide open. We take it. Thank you very much. I knew at this point, if I can just not make any mistakes, we should be able to drive away. But my problem was when I would kind of get out in front of everybody and not have a car close to me to kind of run down, my pace would drop off, because I was kind of losing my marker, my braking points. I was kind of basing it off of what other cars were doing. So once that I would get in front of somebody without anybody else in front of me, I would start to screw up like this. And there's the second mistake that's gonna really cost us now as we come to 3 laps to go. And you saw I couldn't drive away from the car from behind. It's just I ran him down, and then it lost my kind of reference points, and I lost kind of a car to chase, and I struggled after that point. And I perform a lot better when I'm chasing somebody than when I'm driving away from someone. So fortunately, I am in that position again where with 2 laps to go, I have somebody to chase, and we would continue to run down P4 again. Now, there was a big difference between pace and cars. I mean, the guy now in second, that's the Joel Watts guy. I mean, I had absolutely no pace for him, but then again, you look at this guy here in P4, I've run him down well over a second in the last lap. So the pace difference between some of these cars is quite wild as we approach the final lap of this race. It looks like we're going to survive the 1977 Austrian Grand Prix at this point. Now we just got to get through another lap of racing, and can we get up into P4? Of course, a podium is not in the cards for us anymore, but P4 at least, of course, right there just behind the podium, we'll at least take that as we head down this long front straightaway for the final time. White flag in the air. We've got that slipstream pulling right up to the back. We're going to do the same move we did just previously a few laps ago. Dive it up the inside into turn 1. Clear. Thank you very much, and now the goal is to just drive away and bring this thing home, and it looks like it's going to be the Niki Lauda AI that's going to win the 1977 Austrian Grand Prix by a commanding 8.5 second gap, that is. As for us, we're heading down into the final turn here now, continuing to try and hold off P5, who is once again stuck with me. You see him actually getting closer in my mirror, and as he's spinning, he's just gone around. He's completely lost it. And wow, there you go. We still come home for P4 for us. What a fun race. What a fun car to drive. An absolute blast. I don't know what you guys really think about it from a viewing perspective, but of course you can let me know down below. But we have survived the 1977 Austrian Grand Prix in quite dramatic fashion. That does it for me. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.